The Drug Alternative Program presents Drugs Close to Home. Your weekly insight into the ongoing stories of struggle, victory, and the spiritual renewal of rehabilitation. Each week, Cliff and Freddie Harris, co-founders of the Drug Alternative Program, would like to introduce you to the many people who have touched their lives through their spirit-filled ministry. But most of all, they would like to share with you the blessings they continue to receive from Jesus Christ. And now, your hosts of Drugs Close to Home, Cliff and Freddie Harris.
Welcome to Drugs Close to Home, a program about the destruction that drugs causes our families.
And the power of Jesus Christ to heal them. We believe every life is worth saving.
Freddie, that is so true, because every saved life is a miracle from God.
Amen. You know, we're here in our backyard. It's nice and cool today.
This is a nice day. It's a beautiful day here in California.
The birds are chirping and we're excited. Listen, you know, I was thinking about so many blessings the Lord has given to us. And one blessing stands out is your book, Death Dance.
Yes, the book.
I remember we went to visit a donor and she said, how is the book coming? I said, well, it's coming, but we don't have enough money to publish it. And she just ended the conversation. And the next Tuesday, the secretary came in and she was all excited. She says, Mrs. Harris, we got a check. And I said, we did? For $10,000.
Isn't God good,
$10,000 to publish your book, honey.
And you know, C.D. Brooks have read the book. He read it in one setting, and he said he cried, he laughed, even though he knew what the story of my life was like.
Right.
So it is a good book. And I wanted to make sure that the book was really real with what my life was really like.
Right.
That was all what it was about.
Yeah. We have a guest with us today, graduate Justin Hansen. Welcome,
Hello.
Justin.
Welcome.
Hello,
Justin.
good morning, Mr. and Mrs. Harris.
Good to have you.
Love you both.
Tell us.
It's a privilege.
I'd like to hear, give us a little background of, how did you come to DAP and where are you from and all those good things so the audience will know who you are.
Yeah, in a brief summary, I'm 33 years old. I'm from Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. I grew up and was born and raised there my whole life until I came here, which was in 2012. I started drinking and smoking pot and pills and all those things at 16. So from there all the way up till now, I've had this issue. And of course, with drug addiction, there's many highs and lows, and they're very extreme highs and lows. And
well, give us one of the lows. Extreme low that
was devastating to you.
Real devastating
to
you.
So along the way, I've taken probably the lowest that I've been just from within here, and the destruction that it caused in my family was the stealing from them. It was nothing for me to go into their garage and take sentimental tools that have been in the family for years, coins that my dad collects, instruments that were given to me from family, which still has a sentimental value. It's like there was no worth or value to people or things. The drug addiction was number one. That was what I woke up to every morning, was either a hangover or a craving.
That's the most important thing in our life is the drug. That's the number one factor that we seek. We don't care about mama, we don't care about daddy, we don't care about children, we don't even care about ourselves. Because all we want to do is let me go get that drug.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a specific story about your family member and exactly what you did?
Probably one that sticks in my head because it kind of has a little history. This wasn't just a one-time thing. Was two items. There was a guitar that my granddad watched an infomercial for hours and pulled out his credit card and was so excited to get me this guitar. And my mom was telling me that. And when I went to pawn it, she was devastated because of the energy that he spent in getting me that guitar. And I pawned it once, got it back out, then again, And then again.
Again?
It was ended up being 3 times. And the first 2 times my grandmother had to go with me to get it out. And talk about embarrassing. And the 3rd time my mom went with me, and she was just livid. And
But here is one thing I want to emphasize here. See how you were rescued by your parents or grandma each time that you did these things, but there was never no consequences.
No.
So we continue that cycle.
Empty promises.
Yes.
That was my consequences. I had to make a promise to go to some rehab or treatment center, which I did a few of those. You know, I would wreck my car, end up being arrested, going to jail, and then those little things like that would trigger. Okay, you got to do something. So I would go find a 30-day clinic somewhere.
Just to please
Exactly.
the family.
Exactly. And deep down, I wanted to stop, but I didn't really want to. I didn't feel like it was necessary.
Yeah.
I felt like I just needed to slow down a little bit.
Slow down. Were you going to school then, or what were you doing?
Yeah, I spent an entire decade squandering student loans and stealing from family while I went to school. It took me 10 years to graduate. There was many dropped classes, failed
10
classes.
years, you could
Could have been a doctor. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have many dropped classes, failed classes. Same thing with relationships. Same thing with jobs. I had multiple, jobs here and there that nothing lasted. Everything came to a crash. And in 2012 was my biggest crash when I had run out of options. Nobody was enabling me even more. Even my family said, we can't do this.
Well, did you finally get a college degree?
Yeah, I finally got a bachelor's degree.
In what?
University studies.
Oh,
It's like
okay.
a general studies. There's a long story. We won't go there about that. But that was when family put the pressure on hardcore. They said, you've got a college degree. There's no more staying around here. You've got to do something. And my self-esteem was at an all-time low because even with that degree, I had no hope or future. Life was meaningless because I felt like I was working a minimum wage job with a bachelor's degree.
The bachelor's degree.
And I didn't know what to do with it because it was in general studies. And so I was just so depressed. And
So what was the breaking point?
I was working at Home Depot and doing an overnight shift job and, trying to manage my drug addiction and pay for my apartment, and it wasn't happening. And in about 2 months, things came crashing down. I called a friend of mine that he had given me some hope when he came to visit me in one of my treatment centers, and I seen that he changed his life around, got back in the church, and so I knew it was possible. And
So he
I
had been
ran
on
out of
drugs?
options, so I called him. I don't even know why I called him. I just called him.
Had he been on drugs with you?
Oh yeah, when we were younger.
Yeah.
And so he said, well, let me come over and at least help you move out of your apartment and do that, and we'll just start from there. And so he did that, and he said, I want you to go, spend another 30 days, get cleaned up, and then you can come stay with me. But of course, that wasn't a program. That was just another.
Just a break.
Yeah, and I was sincere. There was something about that moment where I decided this has got to stop. And even though I slipped up, I was determined to do something different, and that's why I called you guys. And I know your program is longer, but that was the first difference that I decided to make, is let me do something longer than 30 days.
So how did you find out about us?
Well, I got online, and I was looking for some kind of ministry or something out here that, was church-related. So I typed in Adventist, and I guess I was maybe looking for like an evangelistic place or something.
Right.
But I typed in program, and that triggered your website to come right up. And I was like, drug program? Yeah, that probably is what I need. Let me give you a call. I called you guys, and I found out real quick it was more intense than I thought, but it was what I needed.
Right.
I knew it was what I needed. I mean, I just felt it. It was exactly what I needed to get away from home and the enablers and to spend some time.
I want to ask you one question, Justin. What came about when you were in this program, what you had to deal with me? I don't want to say deal with me, but you went through some feelings with me or the pressure that I put on you.
One of the things I had to work with was my anger. I had anger, and I was not very disciplined.
But I remember. You remember that time we did that job out in Moreno Valley for Renee, and you put those block around the tree and stuff, and I just left it to you to do it. And you know, you got angry at the beginning, but I stepped back and let you work your way through that. I'll never forget that. And you worked through that thing, and it turned out really good.
And I remember one time towards the end, I think you had told me I couldn't go to the library, and well, I walked away hot. And you let me know that you knew that.
Right.
And that was a wake-up call for me that my anger was there. And I almost walked away because of that. And what a shame that would have been, because I wouldn't have the opportunity that I have now, which you guys is one of the highlights of this program, is the transition part. The other ones I would spend 30 days and they'd put me right back in the enabling atmosphere. Now I have the opportunity to stay basically on my own and independent, but still structured, you know.
So you're
it
in the
wouldn't be possible without you guys to be here.
So
is what I'm trying to say.
you graduated, now you're in the transition home.
Yes, so I've been in the transition house for a good while now. You know, I spent a long time working at AutoZone, riding my bike.
Well, tell us about AutoZone. How did you get the job at AutoZone?
They were building a new AutoZone.
In Grand Terrace.
Right here, a mile away from home. And I felt inside that it was God building that for me.
Just for
'Cause
Justin.
He knew, it felt that way, because he knew I liked cars. And
Right.
so that was a fun job. And I did that while I saved up money so I could go to school and get my truck back. And
So you're in
slowly
school
things
now.
have been coming back. And so now I'm in La Sierra getting a master's degree. And
guess what, Freddie? He's out there teaching kids at school.
Right.
Drug addict, drunk, everything. And the conference is trusting him enough to go in and teach these kids.
So
What
you're
a blessing.
substitute teaching at some of the academies, right?
yeah, so I'm substitute teaching for any academy that calls me. Of course, there's one or two that predominantly call me the most.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I'm doing now while I go to school. And I've got 2 more classes before I finish. Next school year, I'll be doing my student teaching and hopefully an internship as well.
So you're going to receive a teacher certificate?
It'll be a master's degree.
Master's degree,
And that
right.
credentials and certificate will come along with it.
Oh, good.
So tell us where you are right today. What's happening in your life right now?
Right this moment, I just spent about 15 minutes ago, I spent some time registering for my last 2 classes, like I said.
Okay.
So that's what I'm going to be
That's
doing this
not
summer.
what I want to talk about, classes.
But
I
probably the
wanna talk-
highlight.
I want to highlight
I'd
something
say
else.
the highlight of my life right now is my fiance.
All
right.
right. Now we're coming in with a female
Right.
Freddie. Oh, you know we love that.
So I just-
listen, what we'll do right now, we will take a break, and we would like to meet this fiance. How about that? Is that
Yes.
okay? Just stand by. We'll be right back.
What? 4 minutes went fast.
My life was a complete mess. I was in and out of prison, addicted to methamphetamine and marijuana and alcohol.
My drug of choice was marijuana, and I smoked a lot. I dealed in marijuana, so I didn't have to go on the streets and, you know, look for it because it was always around me.
A year ago today, I was poisoning myself with alcohol, destroying my life, not only mine, but my family's also.
Today, I am stable, disciplined, get up every morning, go to work. I'm blessed and I'm happy and not going back.
But coming here to this program has made me realize that I am loved, God loves me, I am needed, my family needs me, and that there is hope for me.
See, a year ago, I was on my downward spiral, and I didn't know that I was going to go as far as I went. And one day, I ended up walking the streets of Seattle after being kicked out of a crack house. And I was on the streets of Seattle, and the shame and guilt wouldn't allow me to call, wouldn't allow me to go anywhere. And finally, through encouragement of my family, I called DAP. And I was glad that DAP accepted me. And unless DAP is supported, the doors cannot stay open.
One of the most rewarding things to a human being is to be involved in the life of another human being and to play an instrumental part in seeing that human being succeed and flourish and do well. Donors play a direct role in the transformation of lives like mine. Through their funding, through their resources, through their time and their sacrifices, they are directly affecting my life. And I'd like to say that if you're considering to be a donor, I would plead with you. I would encourage it. I would ask you to consider what a difference it would make to people who want to change, who have the desire to change, but for some reason, because of the effects of drug and alcohol and their addiction to it, are in impasse. It's like there's a block there somehow. They want to get better, but they can't. What you do helps them get past that. And once they get past that and cross that bridge and finally become changed people, is a reward that has a value beyond measure.
Welcome back. We're talking to our 2015 graduate, Justin Hansen.
And wait a minute, Freddie. Now, what did he say when we left during our break?
He has someone special in his life.
Special. All right. And there she is, you guys.
Justin, introduce her to us.
So this is my bride-to-be, Kelsey.
Your what?
My bride-to-be.
Oh, so you guys have already made the decision.
Yeah, I proposed.
All right. Let's give him a hand, Freddie. Yeah.
Okay, tell us a little about Kelsey and what's happening. How did you find out about DAP and Justin?
Well, I found out about DAP through Campus Hill Church. I started going there in January of 2013, and I've always just had a lot of respect for you guys and for the program and for the clients who are in the program. Being in the medical field, I've seen kind of firsthand the effects that drugs and alcohol can have on people, and the chains that addiction can just have on people. And I've always just been really respectful of people who are able to make that choice to change in their lives.
You know, Kelsey, you've always been a part of the DAP family, kind of like a sister to the guys. You know, they give them gifts when they graduate, and they have high respect for you. But there's a special person. How did you get to know Justin?
Well, I knew who he was, I knew his name, but I didn't really know Justin until there was one time I'd gone on a hike with the church group, and when we'd gotten to the top of Blue Mountain, I was just kind of walking around, and I seen that Justin was up there, and I was like, well, maybe he came up with the church group, and so I went over and said hi, and we started talking, and while we were talking, found out that we have a lot in common. There's a lot of things that we like to do.
I think there's one thing, Freddie, that they like to do is outdoor.
Right.
Camping and fishing. And I see you got a kayak in the backyard?
Yeah.
You have one? Yeah.
So what did you think when you saw Kelsey, Justin?
Well, when I saw her when I first came into the program, I was wondering, you know, who's this girl that goes to Campus Hill Church, and why is she not at the University Church where all the other girls are at?
Right.
And, you know, the bigger groups. And so I knew there was something probably special about her because she seemed to have a focus that was different. And so I just kind of had my eye on her throughout the whole time. Of course, my main focus was myself and drug addiction. But when it got towards the end, you know, I started to want to
Talk to her, huh?
talk to her, yeah. And so when we were on the mountain, I was excited when I saw her because I was like, oh, this is probably a perfect opportunity to talk, and she won't be able to, you know, run away because I had the whole hike down. So we had a whole hour to really get to know each other. And I told her everything about me, and I knew she would know. You know, there was no secrets, nothing like that. So if she was going to accept me, she already knew that I was in the program. And so,
you know, I want to interject right here. This was the first thing, even when I met Freddie, that I wanted her to know everything about me, about my past, what I've gone through. I wanted her to hear it from me and not from someone else, because, you know, coming from me would have been better.
So, Kelsey, this wasn't a big surprise because you knew he was in DAP. You knew about his drug addiction. So tell us what happened as the relationship went on.
Well, after that hike, you know, we still didn't really talk that much. But there ended up being a concert at Campus Hill Church. It was a Jamie George concert, and we both ended up coming independently to that concert. But for who knows what reasons, the concert got canceled because there's some problem with the electrical. And after we just started talking again, we kind of walked around the hill where Campus Hill Church is. And later that evening, I went home and I went to my roommate. I'm like, there's this guy, and I kind of like him, but I'm not sure if I should.
Knowing about his past, right?
Right. So what did your roommate say?
Well, she'd also come to Campus Hill Church, so she knew about DAP, and she's like, well, just pray about it.
All right.
So I did.
So what did you do, Justin?
And so, as we continued to talk and hike more, I knew from that early on that she was the one. And I always had that in the back of my mind. And so I just, I saved up some money and kept her in contact. And
you guys have done some exciting things. What are some of the little trips that you've taken and what you've done in nature?
We've gone to the Grand Canyon, to Death Valley.
Wow.
Together. Just the two of you.
And of course, we go to the local beaches and mountains all the time.
Right.
But the Grand Canyon was a fun one, very eventful. Just the wind was howling, and we could go into details about that. But.
And you know what this is about, Freddie, and about the audience also. It's getting to know one another.
Right.
Getting to know your likes and your dislikes. Getting to know the personality and all of that. That's so important in a relationship.
Right.
Getting to know one another.
And I thought I might be intimidated before I had actually got to meet her, because she was a doctor and everything.
Right.
I didn't know if that was going to be something.
How did you feel about that?
I didn't know if that was going to, intimidate me, or if she would be like dominating, because you've always talked about how you got to find the right woman, And after day one, I was like, wow, this girl is humble. And, I think a lot of the times personalities affect who we choose, what careers we choose, but I don't think careers necessarily dictate personality. And she's the most humble doctor I've ever met.
So you just graduated from Loma Linda University. And what is your specialty?
I'm going to go into family preventative medicine.
Okay. Well, tell us about the big proposal.
Wait a minute. Let's do it like this, Freddie. Let's put him on the spot right here. And I love to do that.
Right.
Okay. Look at her and tell her what you like about her. Talk to her. Let's see this. Let's watch this, Freddie. I want the camera on him right over here. Yes. Go on,
Kelsey,
Justin.
One thing I like the most about you is your humility, like I just said. You have a humble, caring heart that is just super attractive. You're loving to your enemies, like even the Bible says to do, which is one of the tallest orders that is known to man. And with my anger, I have so much respect to see how you're so caring and loving towards humanity in general, even the worst of us. And I love that about you. You're nice, funny. I love your sense of humor, because you're witty, you're smart, but you never use it in a sarcastic way where it's offending. You're smart and witty, and you're extremely pretty. And one thing I like about you too is that you're adventurous like me, and that you like to take risks. And I know that being with me is a risk. Choosing to commit the rest of your life with me is a risk, but I know that you're willing to do it, and I really appreciate that, because there's no one else more that I would want to have in my life than you.
Now, let me hear what you would like to say to you.
Well, I really appreciate your determination and your ability to make such a big change in your life from where you came from to where you are today. I have a lot of respect for that. I also appreciate your honesty right from the start. There was no hiding anything. You let me know everything, and I appreciate that as well. I also love your sense of adventure too, and we get to go on lots of adventures together. even going to the grocery store can become an adventure.
Kelsey loves to
wonderful.
cook. So what is when were you engaged?
February 15th.
February
All
15th.
right.
And
So
when
do you
is the-
guys have a date?
September 4 is
All
going to be
right.
our
All
wedding day.
right, they give it to Freddie. Yes, sir.
And I understand it's going to be a different wedding. Where's the wedding going to be?
We're going to have it outdoors at the Big Bear Seventh Adventist Church.
All right.
They have
Up in Big Bear?
They have a lot of land there, so
Right.
yeah.
Out in the woods, up in the mountains.
Where they
See,
like to
both
be.
of them love the outdoors.
Adventurous,
Yes.
right.
We have a lot of fun together. We really, like she said, even if we just go to the grocery store,
Yeah.
we just have fun. It's because, like you said earlier, there's something about we have an intimate relationship where we really know each other,
Right.
and so there's just something special there.
You know, one thing stands out. I remember, Justin, you said when you were working at AutoZone, this young lady would bring a homemade meal and just for you at lunchtime.
I'll never forget Thanksgiving. She cooked a Thanksgiving meal, stuck it in her trunk, and brought it out my lunch break. We parked,
Wow.
opened the trunk, and had Thanksgiving
Oh,
dinner.
All
that's
right.
love.
Isn't
That's
that
love.
nice?
But she would meet me at 10 o'clock at night just for 20 minutes just to say hi. You know, and at that time it's stressful. I just got off work.
Right.
I'm winding down, and it was so nice to just walk out and boom, there she was in her car, just waiting just to say hi, give me a hug and kiss. And
Oh, wow.
say,
That's
how was your day?
special. That's
Let me
special.
vent and tell her about all the customers.
All right. That's
What a blessing.
She
What
is
a
very
blessing.
special.
Yes.
You know what? I want to say this. When you say you're taking a risk, I don't think so. Because I really believe, Justin, you really have changed. And I believe in my heart that you're going to go this way. You're not going to turn back. I just believe that in my heart about you. And I'm proud of you, man.
Thank you,
That
Mr.
where
Harris.
you have come from to where you are now.
Thank you.
And I think what is your future plans after you get married? What are you going to do?
Well, so our marriage kind of has a purpose, like yours does. I look to yours as like a model or an example, and so mine's going to be to educate, of course, kids in science, but anything really. And one thing I'll always have in the back of my mind that I remember you've always said is we've always got to help drug addicts. That's our goal. That's our mission.
Right.
That's what we have to do to not only
Come
stay
back.
sober, but
Come back and help someone.
yeah. And then she wants to do. Well, I'll let her say.
Okay.
My goal has been to do international missions
Okay.
in the medical field.
So you're going to be the doctor and you're going to be the teacher.
And probably overseas is what
All
it sounds like. But
right.
I'm okay with that because I'm adventurous too.
Amen.
So,
Well, we're running out of time, and I'm so glad that you guys came to be with us. Okay?
It's a privilege. Thank you,
And
Mr.
I know
Harris.
God is going to bless you in a mighty way. Don't forget the telephone. Give us a call. The line is on there. We want to hear from you. We love you, and may God bless you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.